My name is Galit Ganor. I've been, in the last 15 years, I worked as a knowledge management consultant. I worked with banks, with insurance companies, with high-tech companies. If I worked with one of the big banks in Israel, and we worked 10 years ago, and we started to create communities, internal communities of the bank, and we said, okay, let the people in the bank speak, and let's hear the employees, and let's hear what the employees, and I think we're getting there. I mean, one of the head of the banks, they didn't sign a contract because of what is written, what was things that the community said that was written in the Facebook, and they said, okay, the people who are going to leave us if we sign on these agreements. So I think we're getting there, we're changing, we're moving all the time. I started working in companies in the Web 1.0 era. We saw a lot of companies creating websites, and we said, okay, what's the business value here? What will bring value for the company, and why should we do it internally? So we talked about things like access to content. Let's make all the content much more accessible. People will be able to find the information much easier. Let's expose tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is the knowledge that is in our mind, in our head. How do we get the knowledge that is in our head outside? Let's expose it through these tools, and let's organize the content, organize it in topics, in subjects, in all kinds of different ways of organization, organizing. And what we created company portals. You know, every company, or many companies today, have a portal. It's common knowledge that you have a portal, you have a gate where everybody enters, and we created that. We created the sites for departments, and it started as a marketing area. I mean, the department want to show how big it is, how good it is, and each manager of each department wanted to have his own very, very nice site that everybody will come. And we supported these trends because it was a beginning, and it was starting to do all these changes. But we also created places of core knowledge, all the information about a specific topic, and I will show you later on examples. What else did we have in this area? We had forums. People were asking questions. We saw it on the internet. There were a lot of forums. There was a lot of communities of interest in the internet. Bicycle community, I don't know, traveling community, all kinds of communities. So we started to do the same things in organizations. The idea was to strengthen the connection between the corporate and the field. One of the things that we found that is these communities work is when we have a corporate and we have a lot of people in the field that are not in a constant interaction, and they're not seeing each other so often. So we can have this connection will help us. By making these connections, it will help to strengthen the contact. Asking knowledge gaps, answer knowledge gaps of the field. People in the field sometimes have questions. They don't have anybody to ask. Who do they ask? They can ask their peers, they can ask each other, or they can ask an expert that is in the company. And these are the two kind of forms that we created. So we created internal communities of practices, and we created internal discussion forums. And we had to train the people how to use it, what to use, how to answer. It's not common knowledge for everybody how often do they have to answer in a forum, and that they cannot leave a question 24 hours without an answer. It's not common knowledge. I mean, you have to work with the people to make them understand and explain and realize it. And now we have reached the Web 2 era. So we have wikis, and we have blogs, and we have networks and social features and many more things. And what can we do with it? First of all, we can show the company experts. We can give a place for the people to create content, to create what's called user-generated content, content that comes from the people, and we can strengthen the connection between people. And I must say, gamification is a killer application. It works. I've been into a company, we implemented it, it works. But in many companies, we cannot do gamification because they say, what? We cannot. There is unions. Unions say you cannot have gamification in the company. It's not possible to have any kind of the union gamification. But we have a lot of issues around that. So these are the things that we did. Now I'm going to show you just a few quick examples of the things. So here is an insurance company that we created a portal for the company. It's all the thing about life insurance. And we have here all the topics that are the main topics of the insurance. And we have here all the tools and the news and all the things that you know of a website. Now, creating this is quite a challenge in the company because we have to work with the people to explain. It takes half a year. Risk management, no, זה איסור הלבנת הון, the compliance. Compliance is the exact word. Compliance, so there is a lot of laws about compliance, and then you don't know what are the laws. And there are a lot of documents in the company, but there are very, very long processes and procedures in Halim. And people don't have the time, the effort to read it. So what we did is we made them written in a much easier way, in a kind of a website way, how to write the processes and the procedures, what the banker needs to know in his work for tomorrow morning. Only the relevant part in the whole procedure, and we made it much shorter, much more written in a way that people can use it and understand it better. Another example is a mortgage. So here again, we have to define the main topics that we need to know about mortgage, the main kind of subjects, the main tools that you have in mortgages, and to write all this content. It's a lot of work. It takes about 6 months to do all this work with the organization to write it, yeah.
But this is for internal.
Internal.
They've spent some money on making it looking nice. That also makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It should be, everything you do should be at least somewhat appealing. So that I like that.
If it's not nice, then people don't buy it. Also internal. Yeah, you have to make it. I mean, it's effort. You don't invest so much money as you would for outside. You don't change it every 6 months. You don't but you have to do some kind of a graphic design. Another example is a form. You know, it's simple technology compared to what we saw before about social. But here is a form where we have someone who is in charge of giving the answers, and people in the field can ask questions about mortgage, about all the things. A customer comes to the bank. He has a question in the bank. The person in the bank does not know how to answer. He can write it in the form and then answer it back. So it really helps people give much better answers and much more accurate information. Gamification. High-tech company, not banks, but still, we introduced here, we created a wiki inside the company for user-generated content that everybody can write content about tech, and we decided what they have to write about technical aspects, about later on about methodology, about best practices, but we told them exactly what kind of content we expect to see from them. And we also put a gamification program that every new page you create, you get 10 points, and every comment you get 1 point, and every ranking you get another point. And it was amazing what happened here. I mean, it was a global company. They have offices in India, in Israel, in UK, in Australia. Who were the ones that wrote most? Who do you think? India, exactly. It was yes, it was amazing. We just put it on the people. There were 3 guys in India that were sitting in the weekends, and they were writing more and more and more pages, and they wanted to be acknowledged. And what happened? The guys in Israel, it's an Israeli high-tech company. What? They have the knowledge? How can that be? We are the experts here. So what does it make them do? It makes them, okay. First of all, we monitored what they wrote. We sat with experts and we went over to the content to see if it's really valuable. And we saw that in many places it was very, very valuable. The one that were not valuable, we deleted. We just deleted. We told them before, we're going to delete your page because it is the same thing that is written somewhere else. That's why we're deleting it. I mean, we gave a reason to the person. We told him we're going to delete it, but we did delete pages. But it made all the company want to be in the game. Managers want to be in the game. People want to be in the game. They get acknowledged from here. And I must tell you also, people get promoted from here. The people, I don't know if it's, one-to-one correlation, but I can say that people that are contributors in the community are also promoted. Maybe it's because they're good employees, okay, but here is a way that we can see that they are good employees and we can see them promoted, and we've seen it already in the forums, in the discussion forums in the banks. 10 years ago, we saw it already. We saw that people that were active in discussion forums were also promoted. So it does have a way of making things much more relevant for everybody to really, really participate. Here is just an example of the content and the value. What is the value of the content? It's a very good question. So here is a page that was written, doesn't matter, something technical. And here Susan from US says, "This is just what I needed to know for a customer." And the person answered her, "Thanks for the compliment." I mean, wow. It was helpful, it was useful. I mean, this is really the true value of the thing. We have here another example, 404 error message. And here he said, "I had exactly that issue just now, and this solution worked great. Thanks." And another person commented on this page and he said, "It worked like a charm, thanks, but I needed to reboot after changing from classic to integrated, and before rebooting." Doesn't matter, I mean, I used it, it worked for 95%. This is the 1% that it didn't work. So this is really the benefit that we get through these interactions.
So are you guys the ones who implement all the software and the solution that enables this community, or who is the...
I am not a technical person.
Who is the technology provider?
This is SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint. Microsoft SharePoint, there is here a lot of development that we did. Microsoft SharePoint version 2010, okay?
Can I help you with that? So this is why we, as a company, we tend to focus on communication to the outside world, because there are a lot of dependencies here, like, collaborative work on documents or something, and there are all those great solutions in place where we can integrate, but we say this is something, but the interesting thing I see here is that even with SharePoint you can build something that is
nice,
interesting and nice for the customers. Yeah. So just one comment from my perspective. What we see, at least if you reach a critical mass, people will gamble the system. So if they understand how the pointing system works, they will cheat. They will abuse it, and they will, people will talk to each other. They get reputation points from someone else, and so if you do that to the outside world, you have to think about it. Don't expose the gamification components, because people will abuse it. Don't reward people based on, give monetary incentive. It all comes together now.
I must tell you, we checked it. Yeah. We checked the points. Here there were 1,000 points. Theoretically, if a person would go and just rank each one of the pages, just give a rank to all the pages, he would be top. Nobody did it. Nobody did it. They don't have the time, the patience to go and start ranking. They don't want to be glorified because of cheating. They want to be glorified for their knowledge.
But maybe the difference is that in your case, the community is employees. And
yes.
In your case,
that's different.
And employees do not want to be perceived as like hackers and abusers, etc. Versus like total community, it's different.
Yes, but again, I think it comes all together, because imagine like you as a company say, hey, every month the top ranked guy here will get, I don't know, a new watch or whatever. Then they will start cheating. So
no, we gave out prizes. We gave out iPads.
Wow, I would start cheating.
No, they didn't do it. They didn't do it. It gave them motivation. But the CEO stands on the podium every 6 months and gives out iPads.
As soon as you hit the B2C area, try to make it cheat-proof.
But you know what? Some of the guys one of the guys got an iPad, and he came to me the next day and he said, "Well, do you want to buy this iPad? I don't need it. I have one at home." They're not doing it for the iPad. They're not doing it for the iPad.
Exactly.
They're doing it because they want to be in the top of the list.
Intrinsic motivation.
And you know what we did after we had the few guys that were here on the top of the list all the time? We developed another thing that showed only the 30 in the last 30 years. Who were the top 30 days? Sorry, who were the top contributors in the last 30 days? I mean, so people will all the time feel that everybody can be there. It's not only for specific people. A little bit of statistics. Well, this is the form that I showed you before. We put the form, we let people use it. This was the result of the usages. You know, between 50 when we launched it to 7 questions. Now what we did, we said, well, something is going wrong here. So we went and we started to train everyone. And we put notifications to everyone. And we went from one person to the other. And we made them use it. We showed them how to write a message, how to get a comment, how to do everything. And that was in the month of December. We finished it in December. And this is what happened in the forum in January. I mean, if you continue with adoption, if you continue with training and with implementing it to the people, then the change does occur. It takes time, but you can see when you do interaction with the people, then it changes. Okay, this is also adoptions. I won't go into this. So how do we make this all happen? First of all, the main important thing when we go in the company is to identify knowledge gaps, to identify places where this will work. It won't work in everything. We have to find the exact places where it works. We have to find the main topics. We have to focus on cross-organizational, or things that are interactions that are cross between people. We work with content experts, we work with the field, and we work with technology to make it all happen, because sometimes you can buy a product like lithium and you don't have to do so much development, or you can use something like SharePoint, which needs a little bit of, or quite a lot of development in order to make it similar features. The challenge is to make it from a nice to have to a must. This is a very, very big challenge. People say it's only nice to have. It's not nice to have. It becomes a must in the company, and then you have to have it. Access to knowledge that is in our heads, to bring everyone to one place. This is also one of the challenges we have, to bring everyone to one place, to find what will make the real difference, okay? To find what will really make it different. And just, okay, I'll go quickly here. This is something that I received on LinkedIn. Somebody turned to me on LinkedIn just 2 days ago and he said, well, Galit, I knew you 10 years ago. You took me on a ride. I'm here for your service. How can I help you? If you need anything, I want to connect to you. You know, there's all kinds of interactions that we have here. I'll go over quickly that we have on the web, and we have to see how do we take them back into the company. I mean, how do we take it into the organization? It's not always clear cut, and it's not always very, very straightforward. So in the company, we have the organizational structure. Okay, who is the manager, the CEO, the marketing, everybody. But this is not really how the things work, because what we have really is a network of connections. And this is how things really work. And Igal, you did your work about it 15 years ago it was? Sort of? Yeah? Yeah, 15 years ago already we discussed it, about how the formal network is the one who really works. And what do we do when we take a platform like we saw with Lithium before into this formal network? What happens? What happens is that we can strengthen the weak ties between the people. We can strengthen the connection between people, and suddenly G and D, who were never connected before and never spoke, suddenly they can be connected. Suddenly they can speak together and they can answer questions. And this is the main benefit of social when we go into the organization, into the company, because we take loose ties. We take people that are not always connected to each other and we connect them. We give them a bridge to be more connected. So we can strengthen the communication, the frequency, the length of the acquaintance, the trust. We talked here before about trust, how trust is important. We want to work with people who trust. We want to have mutual benefit, mutual connections. I will help you, you will help me. Let's help each other. If we both help each other, then we will do better business. We will work together much better. And here is just a final example. This is a messenger, you know, just a copy of a messenger that someone did. This is a guy from India. He's here. And he's writing Nir, his product manager, and he's telling him, Neil, do you remember the problem that we had on localization yesterday, that you asked Lior from R&D to help me solve the problem? Well, after I wrote a wiki page, okay, I wrote a page about this problem, and today someone else from India had exactly the same problem, and he went directly to the wiki page. It's so easy to learn from Lior. This is what he's saying, okay? So it's a whole story of a guy in India who might be 2 months in the company, and we have here an expert in R&D named Lior, and how this person can suddenly learn from his knowledge without even knowing him, sharing him, talking to him, only because we managed to take the knowledge that we have in the company and make it on a platform that people can use, okay? So I'm just going to read it out. Nir, on last Friday, someone from India team facing issue in localization, somewhat what we were facing earlier. And luckily, on Sunday, he got my wiki article of localization, and he found the solution. I must say, learning from Yuval are paying other projects too. I mean, really, the benefit, the true benefit of the social, it's not something that can always be percentage of how many support calls we reduced or we shortened, or how much we shortened, but the small things, this is what really makes it the big difference. So thank you all for everything, and that's it.